The silence in our bedroom was deafening, broken only by the rhythmic creaks of the bed frame. My stomach churned, a bitter cocktail of nausea and rage. I clutched my phone, the live audio feed from the hidden speaker painting a vivid, gut-wrenching picture in my mind. She was moaning his name, a name I had once cherished as a friend. Gabriel, my best friend. It hadn't been a sudden suspicion. The late nights at the office, the hushed phone calls, the new perfume she claimed was a gift from a colleague, the lies had piled up like a Jenga tower, threatening to collapse at any moment. I'd hoped I was wrong, prayed that my gut was playing tricks on me. But the gut, as they say, knows. So, I'd planted the speaker, a tiny, inconspicuous thing tucked beneath the bedside table, a silent witness to my crumbling world. Tonight, the tower had fallen. My thumb hovered over the call button. I could end this now, storm in, let the rage consume me. But something held me back. A cold, calculating part of me wanted more. I wanted them to expose themselves fully, to wallow in their betrayal until there was no escape. Their whispers began between breaths, laced with giddy declarations of love, promises of a future together. A future built on my broken heart, on the ruins of my family. My grip on the phone tightened, the plastic creaking under the pressure. "We should tell him," she murmured, her voice thick with postcoital bliss. "It's not fair to him, to us." The irony wasn't lost on me. Fairness. She was worried about fairness. "Soon," Gabriel replied, his voice a low rumble. "Let's just enjoy this, just us, for a little while longer." That was my cue. I dialed Gabriel's number. It rang twice before he answered, his voice laced with drowsiness. "Hello, Gabriel," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "You might want to turn down the music. It's a little loud." The silence on the other end of the line was absolute. Then, a sharp intake of breath. The bed springs screeched as they both scrambled up. I heard the rustling of sheets, the panicked whispers. The feed from the speaker became a chaotic symphony of fear and confusion. "John," my wife's voice was a choked whisper. How? I cut her off. "I think, why, is the more pertinent question, wouldn't you agree, Amelia?" I ended the call, the sound of their panicked voices echoing in my ear. I gave them a few minutes, just enough time for the reality of their situation to sink in, for the fear to fester. Then, I walked in. The scene that greeted me was exactly as I'd pictured it. Amelia, huddled under the covers, her eyes wide with terror. Gabriel, standing beside the bed, naked and vulnerable, clutching a pillow to his front like a flimsy shield. The look on Gabriel's face was a mixture of shame and abject fear. He'd betrayed me in the worst possible way, and now, he was facing the consequences. "John, Amelia began, her voice trembling. I held up a hand, silencing her. Just don't." My voice was quiet, but the anger simmering beneath the surface was palpable. I turned to Gabriel. "Get dressed," I said, my voice cold and hard. "We need to talk." The drive to my secluded lake house was tense and silent. Amelia sat in the back, huddled in herself, occasionally glancing at me in the rearview mirror with pleading eyes. I ignored her. My focus was on Gabriel, the man who had once been my brother, now reduced to a trembling, guilt-ridden mess. At the lake house, I led him inside. The silence of the secluded property was broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. It was a place where I had envisioned spending happy weekends with Amelia and our future children. Now, it was the backdrop for a different kind of future, a future of reckoning. "Sit," I said, gesturing to the two chairs facing the fireplace. They obeyed, their movements stiff and awkward. I paced before them, letting the silence hang heavy in the air. Finally, I stopped, turning to face them. "So," I began, my voice echoing in the empty room. "Let's talk about loyalty. Let's talk about trust. Let's talk about the knife you both plunged into my back." The confrontation was brutal, a raw outpouring of years of suppressed anger and hurt. I didn't hold back. I laid bare their betrayal, their lies, the deceit. I watched as Gabriel withered under my gaze, his face a mask of shame. Amelia sobbed quietly, her body shaking with each choked breath. The climax came when I revealed the details of their affair, things they thought were private, intimate moments shared in secret. I described their conversations, their plans, their whispered promises of a future together. The details, gleaned from the hidden speaker, painted a vivid, agonizing picture of their betrayal. Their world crumbled around them, piece by agonizing piece. How could you? I asked Amelia, my voice thick with emotion. How could you do this to me? To us? She couldn't answer. There were no words left to say. The truth hung in the air, thick and suffocating. I turned to Gabriel. And you, I said, my voice laced with disgust. You call yourself my friend. You were supposed to be my brother. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a desperate plea for forgiveness. But there was no forgiveness left in me. Only emptiness. I left them there, in the silence of the lake house, to face the wreckage of their actions. I didn't know what their future held, what choices they would make. I didn't care. My focus was on myself, on rebuilding my life, on finding a future without the two people who had betrayed me in the worst possible way. Driving away, I felt a strange sense of calm descend over me. The rage, the hurt, the betrayal, it was all still there, but it was muted, replaced by a sense of finality. A chapter had closed, a painful one, but it was over. And now, a new chapter could begin. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was ready to face it, alone but free. The silence in the car was no longer deafening. It was the silence of peace, the silence of a new beginning.